Welcome back, everyone, to today's Explainer. So today, we're dissecting a pretty fascinating crypto anomaly. It's all about MetaKPK, and it's sort of phantom presence on Binance. You pull it up, you see the ticker, the price is literally moving in real time right in front of you, but you can't actually buy it. So let's decode this really fine line between market visibility and actual trading status.
Okay, let's dive into this. Why on earth is MetaKPK on Binance if you can't even buy it? It is a super frustrating paradox, right? You search for it, you see the live price action, but the buy button is effectively a ghost. It totally goes against our basic consumer instincts. It's honestly like staring at a delicious cake in a bakery window, only to realize the front door is completely bricked over. If a product is sitting right there on the shelf with a price tag, you should be able to put it in your cart, shouldn't you?
Well, this whole phenomenon is what's known as the Binance visibility paradox. There's just this massive tension between watching a live price tick up and down on the world's biggest exchange and then facing the harsh reality that you literally cannot execute a trade there. It creates this incredibly powerful illusion of immediate access, kind of making you feel like you're just one click away from a trade. But to understand why Binance allows this tease in the first place, we really have to peek behind the curtain at the underlying plumbing of crypto market data.
The answer to this whole paradox actually lies in external market data providers. You see, Binance isn't acting as a digital storefront in this specific case. It's really just acting as a mirror. It's pulling in API data from outside sources in the broader ecosystem. So the price you're looking at isn't generated by active order books on Binance itself. Instead, it's an aggregation displayed purely for informational purposes, and it's completely independent of their active trading status.
And this brings us to a heavily emphasized warning straight from our sources. It says, displaying MetaKPK's price on Binance does not mean the coin is listed for trading. That right there is the ultimate look but don't touch reality of this situation. For anyone out there researching assets, this is an absolutely vital distinction to make. Exchange data feeds do not equal exchange listings. You cannot execute a trade for MetaKPK on Binance right now, period. The data is just there to inform you, not to facilitate a transaction.
So, if it's not actually trading on Binance, what exactly is MetaKPK, and where does it natively live? Well, this brings us to a really fascinating shift in its identity, and it all depends on exactly where you're looking in the market. In the wider crypto ecosystem, the technical classification of an asset can actually change based on the specific architecture of the platform hosting it. It's definitely not a one-size-fits-all label.
And this brilliantly illustrates that dual identity when you look at the active exchanges. See, MetaKPK is officially listed as a coin over on CoinPark. But if you jump over to Bitmart, it's actually listed as a token. And no, that's not a typo. It reflects exactly how different exchanges technically integrate the exact same asset into their own unique frameworks. The very definition of the asset shifts depending on where it's housed. It really highlights just how dynamic the crypto landscape can be as you move from one active platform to the next.
But hey, let's pivot the narrative back to Binance for a second. Because while you definitely can't trade it there, this situation is far from a negative for the project. In fact, being visible on Binance without being tradable is actually a massive strategic advantage. It is the absolute ultimate form of exposure. I mean, you're getting prime real estate on the busiest financial billboard in the entire crypto world. And that kind of visibility brings incredible benefits, even if there isn't a functional buy button.
Think of this as a massive global window shopping effect. Suddenly, you have millions of casual Binance users who are just stumbling upon MetaKPK while browsing market data. Having that easy, direct price tracking on such a trusted platform naturally spikes global project awareness. It essentially validates its presence to the wider market, even without an immediate, direct way to purchase it right then and there.
Let's move to and see how this builds into what we call the snowball effect. That initial window shopping, it triggers some serious momentum. This high-level exposure starts attracting curious new users and investors, which naturally grows the community. And as that price data becomes ubiquitous across these top-tier platforms, market recognition really solidifies. Ultimately, that growing wave of adoption and liquidity builds the core foundation for potential future exchange opportunities. The momentum just continuously builds on itself.
So, the crucial point is we really have to ground our expectations in reality here. There is absolutely no guarantee of a future Binance listing. None. While that visibility snowball is incredibly powerful, future exchange opportunities are just that, possibilities, not promises. It is so important to separate the excitement of having that prime digital real estate from the reality of its current trading status. Sure, continued growth and adoption might open doors down the road, but right now,
It remains strictly informational. Which brings us to the most actionable part of today's explainer. If you can't trade it on Binance, but let's say you've tracked the price, you've done your research, and you actually want to execute a trade, well, where do you go today? We need to shift gears from passive visibility to the definitive platforms where those buy and sell buttons actually work. If you want to move from passive tracking to actually executing a trade today, there are currently only two supported platforms. You've got CoinPark Exchange, which, remember, is handling it as a coin, and Bitmart International Exchange, which is operating it as a token. Both of these platforms fully support buy and sell functionalities. These are your active, functional venues right now, completely distinct from that data-only feed over on Binance.
As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a thought to ponder. We've seen the mechanics of external data, the fluid identities of the asset, and the immense power of being on the world's biggest display board. Exposure absolutely guarantees visibility, for sure, and that visibility drives community and awareness. But will it guarantee a future listing? In the fast-paced, totally unpredictable ecosystem of crypto, that is the ultimate question. Keep your eyes on the data, understand the platforms you're using, and never confuse a price ticker for a buy button. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Stay focused and keep learning.